How y'all doing? This is your boy Lord Thadeus Kray. Yeah, no cigar right now. I'll probably do it later. I decided I needed to put another video out. As you guys may know, I already put out a story. It's an interesting one. It's kind of a Japanese love story, if you want to call it that. And I did some research. I've always been fascinated by Japanese culture most of my life, so I kind of did some research throughout the years of like different things. And of course, me being a comics fan, of course, I like the idea of Venom and the symbiote, so I basically decided, hey, why not make a story about two women who actually are cursed by a sorcerer who basically have cursed kimonos. It was literally the price for their avarice and their greed, each one of them in their situations. And it surrounds a young man that's caught between them. And the poor kid is really in over his head. I'm going to leave it at that. And there's an insane madman at the back of it all. I'm just going to leave that there with that. But that ain't what this video is about. If you want to watch that one, feel free to. If not, that's up to you. But I'll tell you right now, this one is going to be one of my usual kind of stuff about cryptids. This one is about the skunk ape. Now, what the hell is this thing? It's obviously connected to something like Bigfoot. These things are seen throughout Florida, Mississippi, I think Mississippi, I know Texas too, Louisiana, especially Florida for the most part. They're called the Florida skunk apes for a reason. Excuse me. But I'm going to get to the point. These creatures, they're not like the typical known, like Patty type, Patterson Gimlin type Bigfoot. Those are the ones like usually that are seen up north. And how can I say this the best way? They're not like the ones up north that are, or to the west, that are massive, terrifying creatures. Just gigantic 10-foot plus monsters. These creatures are closer to human size. They're bigger than us, but they seem almost more ape-like to a degree. Many of the sightings of these creatures have been closer to that of like a massive chimpanzee type creature, of course, more closer to a humanoid being than a regular primate, but definitely it's a primate. And here's what's so interesting. These things seem to have a more scientific approach than a lot of the paranormal stuff that surrounds these creatures. Excuse me. Anyway, these creatures, at least down here in the South, they seem to be more balanced with reality to a degree. Of course, think about it. Why is it called a skunk ape? Many people don't know this, but I'll tell you. And I've been to a zoo, so I can tell you, these things stink. Male apes. It can be damn sure gorillas. Also chimpanzees, I think, bonobos, most of the apes, even monkeys. The males tend to, when they're stressed, they have scent glands, I want to say around their armpits and around their rear end, which makes them stink bad. Now you think about something that's much bigger than a good bit bigger probably than any gorilla, and definitely bigger than a person. If it's pissed off or agitated, it's going to stink, especially if it's a member of the ape genus. Maybe something like Gigantopithecus, who knows? But either way, these creatures are known to smell very bad, like garbage, maybe even blood, or bad funk. Who the hell knows? They just stink. It's very interesting, these creatures. There's been reports of groups of them. There's also, of course, you gotta think on this, there's a creature called, I think I've done a video on it before, called the Monster of Boggy Creek. There's some similarities there. These things have been known to carry off horses, cattle, people possibly, pets. They don't seem to like dogs too much, which is interesting in itself because baboons in Africa are actually known to kidnap puppies and raise them among the troop, and the dogs would offend them. But anyway, of course, as they're grown, that's what they know. But anyway, that's just getting off topic. What I'm saying is this: the skunk ape is a very unique creature, at least when it comes to the Sasquatch. Of course, you have just so many variants of this thing. I'm talking about Bigfoot. But it seems that the skunk ape seems to exhibit more ape-like behavior. It's territorial, very foul-tempered, and it will hurt you. I'm just saying, there's been reports of these things hurting people. They seem to have the same vocalization abilities that Bigfoot seems to have. I've heard of people saying, I think it was a couple of witnesses I not that I've talked to, and I've talked to a couple, but it was another podcast or YouTube or whatever. This dude was talking about he felt his liver vibrate when one of these things, I want to say, ripped into a truck or something, and no one was hurt, but it scared the bejesus out of him. My point is, these things are also known to raid farms for food. Typical, like I said, very intelligent ape behavior. These things, I'm not going to say they're just dumb animals, because they ain't. What I'm saying is these things, at least when it comes across the types that live in the swamps down here. Of course, I live near the border, so you ain't going to really see anything like that. But like I said, I've been to East Texas, and believe me, I know what I'm talking about. You have nothing but wood, swamp, all that down there. So leave it at that. I mean, you're talking, just there's only God knows how many places something like that can hide, especially in Louisiana, Florida, Mississippi. Hell, Mississippi has more swamp than I think Louisiana and Florida. I could be wrong on that. But what I'm saying is this. These things, they seem to love the swamps. Of course, they seem to have natural pack, what do you call, tribal or troop, I think is the proper term. They seem to have troop behavior similar to gorillas. There's even been, they make nests. Of course, they eat fruit. They definitely eat anything they can get their hands on. They seem to be very omnivorous. And of course, they're naturally going to kill a deer. I mean, I've heard of people saying these things kill deer. And of course, like I said before, they love to raid livestock, which is another thing which is interesting in itself, which is very predatory behavior, but also opportunistic behavior. And the thing is that these things are as strong and as agile and as smart as we all know they probably are. Good luck trying to stop one of these things, especially, it's just crazy how it is. Now you're probably wondering how the hell can something like that hide? Well, I brought many cases before about gorillas not being discovered until recently. Chimpanzees, of course, have been known for the most part for a fair bit. But you also have the billy apes, which are bigger types of chimpanzees, slightly more aggressive, but they're basically just big chimps. Those things weren't found for a long time, until recently. Of course, there was legends around. Then, of course, you have to understand, the Congo, there's nothing but war down there. I mean, people are being killed left and right on a regular basis, and what doesn't kill you, the diseases and god-awful living conditions will too. So they're exploring down there is kind of a suicide, if you want to be honest with it, unless you know what the hell you're doing and have an all-day lunch. But I'm just saying, it's very easy for something like that not to be discovered. And of course, I said before, Uncle Sam ain't going to want his gravy train stopped. Think about it, tourism, things like, Florida is a massive tourism down there. A lot of tourism. Of course, Louisiana, airboats. Hell, I've been to Anahuac when they have the Gator Fest. There's a swamp down there. Airboats, airboat rides, things like that. I'm just using these as examples. These things are tourist spots, which make money for the state. You've got to understand that, or the city, or whatever. It's more than just mom and pop stuff down there, or even regular business. It is a thriving business tourism. People don't realize that, unless you really look at it and you travel abroad like I have. But I'll tell you right now, that is a big reason why I think these things ain't been found yet. Because people ain't wanting them to be found. But also, the creatures themselves ain't stupid. They're going to hide. I just wanted to put that out there. And again, you want to check this story I had made out. It's called Tanaka's Revenge. Check it out. Like I said, it's a little bit, I stepped out of my comfort zone on this one. I really enjoyed doing it. But that's neither here nor there. Sorry about the noise, that was my dog. But anyway, if you want to listen to it, feel free to. If not, that's up to you. Like I said, I do this because I enjoy it. But I also do try to pass the love to people who have similar interests. And like I said, this was kind of a push outside of my comfort zone. Instead of doing cryptid-related horror or creepypastas, whatever you want to call it. I hate that term. But it is what it is. So I'm just going to leave it at that, guys. If y'all want to listen to it, feel free to. Or not. Either way. But I'm going to put this up and, we'll see how it goes. You guys be blessed and you be safe.